Hey guys, welcome to the Touchdown Table. I'm Ryan, that's Tyler, that's Jordan. This is another offseason outlook video, and it is a video about a team that a lot of people think is going to be pretty good next year. They were a playoff team a year ago, lost in the first round, but really did put up a fight in that playoff game. And this team is the Indianapolis Colts. They were a 7 seed, but they were a pretty darn good 7 seed as they put up a big fight in their playoff game, had a strong regular season, new quarterback in Carson Wentz. So we're going to talk about what they can continue to do in the draft and in free agency, which is starting very soon, to make their team better and make a Super Bowl push. Because I think everyone around the league thinks they're not far from doing just that.
Yeah, they definitely are, and I mean, they have a lot of positions filled. We're gonna get into what they could need if we were picking some things. There are some certain positions that could use some work, but I think in this offseason they could address a lot of their issues and be one of the most rounded teams, if not the most rounded team in the NFL. I am really excited to see this team. I think we're gonna be seeing a lot from Carson Wentz next year that could help this team get back to the playoffs and go even further. I'm excited, and let's get talking about it.
And let's just start with what's good, what's full, and what's really not going to be worked on too much as we're in the offseason. But as we continue on with this offseason, first of all, it starts with the quarterback. They got theirs, Carson Wentz from the Eagles. He's going to be their guy. That's not a position they have to worry about no more. Then running back, that position is stacked for the Indianapolis Colts. I love Jonathan Taylor, their starter. They also have three really good backups as well. Marlon Mack, who was out for a huge portion of last year, got injured in the first game. And Naheem Hines and Jordan Wilkins both stepped up in many games to do some really good things for that Colts backfield. So running backs are stacked on this team. Tight end, I guess that's something we can get to kind of, but it's not too bad either. But then also the offensive line, one of the best offensive line units in the entire National Football League. Chaz Green, Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly, Mark Lewinsky, and Brandon Smith. Braden Smith. I was thinking of Brandon, who we do the podcast with. Anyways,
Huh?
Yeah, exactly.
But
him. Yes. So that is a stacked offensive line. They're one of the best in the league. That's why the run game was so good last year, and that's why Phillip Rivers was able to keep his jersey clean for a large portion of last season.
Yeah, I think that's just going to be the key for the Colts. It's protecting Carson Wentz. It's allowing that run game to continue to be what they can be and what we saw last year. Jonathan Taylor really stepped up in the latter half of the regular season and in that playoff game. So, yeah, I really like Jonathan Taylor. I liked him coming out of Wisconsin. He was my number one running back. But when I look at the Colts and I look at where could this get better on offense, I think the wide receiver position. And I know they've got Michael Pittman, who I think is pretty good and was part of that great deep wide receiver class from a year ago. Paris Campbell battles injuries, but he's still a speed threat that can definitely have stuff to prove if he could get healthy and stay active. But T.Y. Hilton is a big question mark that I want to bring up because he's a fan favorite, been there a long time. I go to Colts games a lot when they play the Texans. They love him there. They do the T.Y. whenever he makes a catch, so that's something cool that they do. They have a lot of little traditions down there. So, yeah, he's a fan favorite there, but also this is a business, so I'm eager to see if the Colts bring T.Y. Hilton back or if he gets a better offer for agency because I think T.Y. wants
I'm eager to hear that too.
What?
I'm eager to hear that too.
Yeah, eager to hear. I mean, with T.Y. Hilton and his good friends in Indianapolis, I mean, we don't know if he's going to take less to play with the Colts or if he'll go try and get the most money he can. Because something to note, now that guys like Allen Robinson and Chris Godwin are franchise tagged, that makes a guy like T.Y. Hilton more valuable in free agency because some of the top receivers are now no longer available. So I think that's the name to watch for the Colts as far as the early stages of free agency, at least on the offensive side, because T.Y. has been, like I said, a fan favorite, veteran guy, battled some injuries, but when he's been on the field consistently, he's still been very good. And I'm eager to watch what they do there. I'm sure T.Y. wants to stay, but also this is a business, and some team might offer more money that needs a receiver.
Yeah, and with T.Y., as you mentioned, they love him there. He's been really good for a long time. He's had a lot of commitment to that organization. Shout out to T.Y. Hilton because he has had a fantastic career. But last few years have not been as good. It's been declining a bit. So if the Colts decided they want to move on with him, I would not be shocked. But also if they want to keep him around, and especially if T.Y. wanted to stay there because his team is getting kind of stacked right now, then I would see that side of it as well. I could see it going either way. But T.Y. Hilton has done a great job in Indianapolis, regardless of what happens. Fantastic career there, and I'm sure into the future he'll continue to get his opportunities.
Yeah, and if he stays with the team, he's going to have a new quarterback throwing to him. Obviously, something to mention. Carson Wentz now being there, he huge part of this offseason already for the Colts. Going to make a big impact. He's back with Frank Reich once again. Those two were very well together just a couple of years ago in Philadelphia. Now reunited and hoping to do something similar. I think they have some good young receivers now in there, and they have a chance to go get some in free agency as well. This offense could be really good with that line you guys mentioned as well. And then their running backs are both pretty good, but Jonathan Taylor is the one to watch out for the most.
Yeah, absolutely. And just looking at this offense, before we segue into the defense and the draft and stuff like that, I just want to segue back to the wide receiver position because we talked about T.Y. Hilton. Will he stay? Will he go? We don't know. I just rhymed.
Will I stay?
But,
Will I
and,
go?
yeah, and that's a song too.
Right.
But I just want to look at some of the other receiving options in free agency that they could go to if T.Y. leaves. Just some names that I see. Emmanuel Sanders, he was cut from the Saints. I mean, I was high on him last offseason. I think he's still a good player. He, battles some injuries. That Saints offense was kind of inconsistent with Drew Brees not being able to consistently throw the deep ball. But anyway, I think that there's definitely some quality veteran options there. And Emmanuel Sanders is one of them. I think he's a guy that brings a lot of experience, played with good quarterbacks a lot in his career. The same could be said for Golden Tate, a veteran guy who brings a lot of experience to a locker room, could help a team that's ready to win now kind of get that championship veteran mentality. Sammy Watkins is another. We don't know if he'll be back in Kansas City or not. Marvin Jones has said himself that he wants to try and get a Super Bowl ring, so he'll probably be signing with a contender. Corey Davis, stealing him from a division rival could be cool. There's a lot of nice names here, despite some of the top guys like Godwin and Robinson being tagged in this wide receiver free agent class. So I am still very eager to watch these receivers go off the board. And even if T.Y. Hilton stays, I still think the Colts could get another one of these guys because Indy's going to be an attractive destination for sure. Also, A.J. Green is a guy I don't think I mentioned. He can still contribute if he stays healthy. So obviously, yes, the Colts, I think, would like to bring T.Y. Hilton back, but there are some more than okay options. There's actually some really sneaky good options, in my opinion, still lurking in this wide receiver free agent class if T.Y. leaves or even if he doesn't.
Yeah, that's going to be the position to look out for on offense. Defensively, they're pretty stacked as well. I think when you're talking about the weakness of their defense, it's probably their secondary. Yeah. They still have good cornerbacks and good safeties, but that area could definitely be improved upon. So that's going to be something you need to address. Maybe they could get another player on that defensive line if they want to go out and make a big purchase in the offseason. That would be something fun to see. You can never be too good on that defensive line or anywhere, really. But like I said, this is a team that does not have many holes to fill. So they're really close, I think.
Yeah, I mean, on the defense, my one question is Xavier Rhodes. I think he's set to be a free agent. He had a bounce-back year. Will they bring him back or maybe go after another veteran corner like, say, Malcolm Butler, who was just released by the Titans, or maybe Patrick Peterson from Arizona, who's a free agent? So just something to watch there for what they do with that second corner opposite Kenny Moore. But like you said, just the names on this defense, just a mix of veteran talent and young talent. I mean, Darius Leonard, I think, is one of the best linebackers in the league. I watch him a lot, being a fan of an AFC South team in the Texans. He's really good. So is Anthony Walker. Gotta like Walker. Him and Leonard are a nice linebacker pair, so that's good to see. And the D-line, as you mentioned, stacked. In the secondary, you called it a weak point, which is probably right, but that's
still
being
not very
nitpicky.
weak.
That's harsh. But
yeah,
if you had to pick a weak point, probably the secondary. But they were a pretty good unit last year for the Colts. They won a lot of ball games for them, making big plays late. They had that ability against my team twice, but also in other games. But, yeah, the defense, I mean, I know this is an offseason outlook about what they're supposed to do and how they can get better, but, I mean, looking at what they have here, I mean, this has got to be just about as good as it gets for them.
Yeah, there's always pieces to be added, but it is really good. Also, something else I wanted to mention, Julian Blackman, fantastic rookie season. I'm excited to see what he can do throughout the rest of his career. I think it's going to be very good.
Yeah, if you were a rookie receiver or a rookie safety, odds are you had a good year.
That's true. That's actually a good point. Okay. Yeah, there was they had Pittman as well. I think did you guys talk about Pittman or not? He had a good rookie year as well.
Did.
That's exciting.
Good as a
Well, he was hurt for a lot of it, and for a rookie wide receiver, it takes time for those guys to get going. There's not always those Jeffersons or those type of guys that will make an immediate impact. Well, he was hurt for a good portion of the season. I thought he was going to have a season-ending injury, and then he came back surprisingly, which was cool to see him back on the football field again.
He was on my bench in fantasy football for a long time.
I did not know that, actually. So, like we said, there's a lot of areas where the Colts are already ready to go and ready to head into next season, but there are always improvements to make. And I got some tips for them and we head into Tyler's segment called Tyler's Tips. I am Tyler. I'm going to give you my tips about what the Colts should do with this offseason to improve their team as much as possible. And that starts off, as we have mentioned multiple times in this video, talking about the wide receiver position. Now, we talked about T.Y. Hilton earlier. I did not mention it. I'm going to mention it now. I think they let T.Y. Hilton walk, or if he wants to stay there for a discount, you could pay him to stay there if he really thinks they could win a championship. But I don't know if you're wasting money on, I wouldn't say wasting, but using money on T.Y. Hilton if you could go out and sign a bigger guy in free agency. Speaking of those guys, Kenny Goliday and Corey Davis both not getting franchise tags, so they will be free agents. I think Kenny Goliday would be a guy that would be more likely to end up going there. I could see that one definitely happening, staying in that blue jersey. Not the same team, but the same color jersey. And then we talk about the secondary on the other side. But first, before I'm going to get to that, I want to talk about the wide receivers in the draft that they could go to as well, because this is where they possibly will go. I think they'll go later on in the draft with wide receivers, because I do think they're going to make a play for a big wide receiver like a Kenny Goliday or Corey Davis, as I mentioned. If they want to go later on in the draft, they could get a guy like Rondale Moore or Tutu Atwell. Those guys would be guys that would still be out there and could make an impact, at least somewhat, to help this team in their first year with them. And then we talk about the weakness on the defense being that secondary. Address that in the draft, maybe a J.C. Horn or Caleb Farley if they were there at their pick, which is unlikely because they're picking at pick number 21. And then more likely would be a guy like maybe a Surtain or a Trayvon Moehrig if they wanted to go safety. So those are just a couple to throw out there in terms of filling their weaknesses. And now this team also has a lot of cap space, I believe, and I know the cap has gone down this year. But if they want to go out and just sign a big defensive free agent, why not just do that if you have that cap space, or even offensively? I just wrote down 2 defensive possibilities. Bud Dupree is now set to be a free agent, and Trey Hendrickson not getting franchise tag, which I was surprised by. So both of those guys will probably, I think Bud Dupree already announced he's leaving the Steelers, but Trey Hendrickson will also most likely be leaving the Saints. So that leaves the door open for the Colts to go and try and snag them themselves. Why not try and get a veteran on their defense to lead this team even more? I think if that were to happen, I could be saying that the Colts, I wouldn't be surprised if we were saying the Colts are in the Super Bowl at the end of this next season. Also, another thing just to mention, that they got to spread their draft picks around. They don't have too many draft picks, but I wouldn't just focus on one position, try and get as much depth as possible. That's what the Colts have been trying to do, and they got to continue doing that. And then get Carson Wentz back to where he was early on with Frank Reich, make sure that chemistry is back to where it was early on in this offseason to get them ready to go. So that's what the Colts have to focus on in the offseason. There's not too much to do here, and that's always a good sign. So I'm really excited for the Colts next season. I think you guys are as well. So let's go through some very rough record predictions. We got the extra game. And Jordan, we're going to start with you. Right now, or just factoring in that they might make some of these moves that I mentioned or something you guys mentioned as well, where do you think the Colts are in terms of record in 2022? He's calculating.
13-4.
13-4.
I agree. I have the same prediction, 13-4. I think they're poised to be really good.
I might make it a little bit uncomfortable, but I'm going to go 13-4 as well.
That's pretty satisfying.
I think you might have just turned the audio off. We're about to find out here. We're live here trying to see if we turn that audio
Oh,
off.
it's good, man.
It's still running. Okay, we're good. All right. So that's going to wrap it up anyways. I think we're all good talking about the Colts for this video. Like we said, the Colts are set to have a great season next year. Ryan, I'm sure you're not very excited about that as they are in the Texan division, although they are set up to be hot trash next year.
Yep.
No denying from the Texans fan. So thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to like this video. Go down in the comments. Tell us what you think about the Colts next season. Do you think they're going to be in that playoff competition or Super Bowl contenders next year? We certainly do think that. Let us know why. Let us know what you think the Colts should do in the offseason. We want to hear what you guys think, so go down in the comments and let us know what this team should do. Let us know your thoughts on anything we said in this video as well. We'd love to talk to you guys. So like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Like I said, comment. Go check out our podcast and our Instagram where we talk about some free agent stuff happening as well. And with that, we will see you guys later.
See ya.